Hey, it's Layla Rahimi. I am coming to you here from the afternoon show office at 670 The Score. Chris Tannehill, soundman extraordinaire. His pictures are right behind me. And then look what's way behind me. How cool is that? That's property of 104.3 Jams. One of the days that I'm here, I should do it behind the scenes because there's a lot of really interesting memorabilia here and some very cool like pop culture moments too. That's one of the fun parts about working here. The other fun part is, of course, I get to talk about the Bears, and hadn't done a Bears video in the past couple of weeks, so I wanted to get to it after the second of the 25-24 scores that the Bears put out against the Washington Commanders, the other one being the Vegas Raiders. And the reason I want to talk about them together is because of the significance of these wins. Number one, the Bears won 3 games in a row. And that is a great feat to talk about because they have a really good chance playing a Saints team that is 1-5 on the season on Sunday. And if they win 4 straight, it will be the first time since 2018. That's right, the vaunted 2018 first year of Matt Nagy season where they made the playoffs and unfortunately lost in the double doink to Philadelphia. But they had 2 4-game win streaks that season. So that is very significant when you put it all together and you consider what this could mean for this team. It's a good benchmark to have. The other one that's really big is, of course, 1-score games. Let's not forget the Bears were 6-20 in the Matt Eberflus era in 1-score games. And those are a huge definition of success in the NFL. You win more of those, there's a good chance you're going to the playoffs. There's at least a good chance you're over 500. That's the mark of a good team. So the Bears did that the last 2 games in a row. Of course, we know why that's important. They're finding ways to win. Was it pretty against the Raiders? No, I don't care. If they win like that the entire season and they're able to come away with the W, that is a massive improvement compared to what we saw last year. We know it's not just about that. We'll hold them to a higher standard, but that can absolutely be the baseline, and that is okay. So for the Bears to do that 2 weeks in a row by the same score, which is also kind of interesting because 25-24, not typical, that's what matters the most. I know that the Bears don't want to talk about the past and last year's game against Washington and the Fail Mary, and that's what players are hardwired to do, and coaching staffs too. They can't live in the past. We can. We can talk about how that was such a frustrating loss. Do I think it caused them to lose 10 games in a row last year? No. I think it was indicative of bigger problems as we saw. I think about what the great coach Mac Brown always says. He's the one who taught me, don't let one loss beat you twice. And unfortunately for the Bears last year, you could make the argument that one loss beat them 10 times in a row. Thankfully, they stopped it with that win over the Packers to end the season. But in this case, they have 2 1-score wins, and that is a huge turn of events for this team. You know it when you're watching it, that they're doing better. And I also want to point out some of the notes about the Bears' objectives that they wanted to get done in this bye week. It's big to see if they continue them against the Saints because Alvin Kamara, as we know, is a huge threat on the ground for the Saints. I feel like he's very symbolic of the Saints team because he's been there for so long, and stopping him will be key. Just like it was stopping Jacory Krosky-Merritt and that Washington run game, which was first in the NFL prior to playing the Bears. So for the Bears to be able to hold them to 145 yards rushing as a team, which was lower than their average significantly at the time, then that's a very, very good thing. They wanted to get better at stopping the run. Are they perfect? No. Did I love seeing Dominique Robinson, for example, end up in pass coverage on one of the plays? No. That's gonna happen. But what you saw was a more active pass rush as well, more active defensive line, and they were disruptive. The defensive line comes away with 3 sacks in that game, 2 of them credited to individuals, 1.5 for Javon Dexter, 1/2 for Robinson, and then a team sack as well. It was enough to help disrupt what Washington was doing it off offensively to be able to create those important turnovers yet again. The Bears have now +8 in the takeaway ratio. That is absolutely huge. If they can continue to do that at any clip, that's going to be a real measurement for their success. Do you want to rely on them? Not exclusively, but it's a good indication of what the defense is able to do right now. Some really, really heady play when it comes to fumble creation, taking advantage of a wet ball and a handoff from Jaden Daniels to Jacory Krosky-Merritt, and then also, of course, the interception by Jaquan Brisker. All of those were key in this Bears win that we just saw. And really, I think emblematic of what we've seen so far. The Bears have been very active on takeaways, and that has, without a doubt, helped contribute to their wins. It really is complementary football when you think about it. So they stopped the run better. They are still able to take away the ball in a really aggressive and effective way. And that helps, of course, get the stops they need, get the turnovers they need, and it will give them enough to get that offense there, and that's what we're seeing. Would you like to see more touchdowns scored by the Bears in the red zone? Yes, sure. That can be level 201 of this. But right now in level 101, which is just win the games, I'm happy to see that they won their third straight. The other objective for the Bears was to run the ball better. And it really looked like Ben Johnson set out during the bye week to make that happen. DeAndre Swift, so key in that. Of course, he goes over 100 yards rushing, and he ends up with 175 total yards from the line of scrimmage thanks to that great 55-yard passing catch where there was some discussion. Caleb Williams admitted to the media. He said he called the wrong play, but Jonah Jackson a couple days later is saying, well, if he did, we didn't exactly know because we were able to protect it and it turned out well. And that it did. But it might make sense as to why the ball was snapped so late in the play clock. The good news is for the Bears that they were able to do that and withstand that little bobble. That little issue didn't turn into something catastrophic. It didn't turn into a sack. It didn't turn into a neutral or negative play. It still became a 55-yard touchdown. That's massive to me when it comes to the amount of growth you want to see out of this team. Again, is it perfect? No, but when you're looking for progress, I think that that's a very good example of the progress that we've seen. So good for the Bears to be able to run the ball more, good for the Bears to be able to stop the run better. A big test will be, of course, how they do against the Saints, and unfortunately, DeAndre Swift ended up on the injury report during the week with a groin injury. So Ben Johnson said he was hopeful on Friday that he would play. I think we're all hopeful that DeAndre Swift is going to be able to play. So that's something that at least keep in mind whenever we're trying to figure out his performance this week against New Orleans. Another stat that, while this year's Bears may not care about, Bears fans certainly understand. The Saints have been a bugaboo for this team. The Saints have won 8 straight games. Historically against the Bears, they are on an 8-game win streak. So if the Bears are able to stop that, like keep in mind the old 2020 playoff game, for example, where Mitch Trubisky won the MVP, the Nickelodeon MVP, that was the slime game. That's just another example of the Bears losing to the Saints. I think that would be another feather in the cap of how this team is changing what we've seen in the past. Is it important? No, it only matters for this game. But when you consider just another measurement of success and what this team could do to erase a lot of these demons, that would be one that I feel like is notable to at least break that losing streak because it means they've won. So those are just some of the things I'm looking for, and I have that context as well when it comes to the last 2 games. I thought about the phrase "just win, baby," of course, by Al Davis, which is still very present in, say, like the airport in Las Vegas. It's like painted on walls there. That's what the Bears are doing right now. Just win. And if you can do that, then you're going to be a lot better off than this Bears team that we saw in years past. And I just want to say, I forgot to add this part at the end. The algorithm makes these videos too long to share. I make them too long, so then they're not promoted. So I just want to say thanks again for watching. Please like, please subscribe, please share. I think I'm going to do a Q&A at some point too when I can figure out a better way to read all my DMs in the inbox. But thanks for watching, and thanks for taking the time for this one. And for people who want to know where I got this sweatshirt, because they always laugh because it just says sporty, I got this at Abercrombie. They have it again this year. So I love a good generic sweatshirt, and this is what I've got on today. Thanks again.